Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1246. I'm celebrating Women's History Month this March by having 21 inspiring automotive enthusiasts who are women here on Cars Yeah. These are the movers and shakers who work in the automotive industry.
If I do this, if I take this risk, what's the worst thing that can happen?
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hey, this is Mark Green. Join me at the Classic Auto Show in Costa Mesa, California this March 16th and 17th at the Orange County Fair and Events Center. I'll be the celebrity stage MC conducting live interviews with past Cars Yeah guests, including Adam Carolla, the Grand Marshal, Dave Kindig from Bitchin' Rides, Wayne Carini from Chasing Classic Cars, Mark Warman from Graveyard Cars, Mike Finnegan from Roadkill, Bogey from All Girls Garage, Big Mike, import tuner and builder, and Lynn St. James, an iconic race car driver. I hope I'll see you at the Classic Auto Show. For more information, go to theclassicautoshow.com. That's theclassicautoshow.com. Hello, automotive enthusiasts. I'm revved up and so excited to introduce today's very special guest, calling in from Cary, North Carolina, Margaret Palango. Hey, Margaret, are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
Ready to go. 3, 2, 1.
All right. Here we go. Margaret Palango is the Executive Vice President at Autoshop Solutions. She has overseen and been a key catalyst in Autoshop Solutions' growth into the award-winning website design and internet marketing agency it is today. Margaret leads all of their corporate marketing initiatives as it continues to be the industry's gold standard for an online marketing solution. She joined the company in 2006 when she began establishing its brand position for quality, customized website design, and progressive internet marketing. Margaret started by handling direct customer interface, and then she went on to managing the entire website production. She now spends her time working with industry partners to bring innovative solutions to the automotive aftermarket. And on the weekends, you can find her driving in her local PCA event, and she's an active member of the North Carolina Hurricane Region Porsche Club. So, Margaret, you're a fellow Porsche lover just like me, and I want to give a big shout out to past Cars Yeah guest Deb Pollack for introducing me to Margaret today. So, Margaret, I've told our listeners just a little bit about you. Would you take a brief moment, share a little bit more before I jump into the questions about your career and your passion for automobiles and Porsches?
Sure. Thank you, Mark. So happy to be here today and talking to you about my favorite topics, which are automotive, the automotive industry, and Porsches. And cool. As you mentioned, I am an active member of my local Porsche Club with my 1985 Targa 911. And
nice.
Yeah, that's my baby. And then I also have the pleasure of working in the automotive industry on a daily basis, combining my business and marketing passion for internet marketing and bringing that to the automotive industry, and specifically with some of the small businesses in automotive, like the independent repair shops and other businesses in the automotive aftermarket, and helping them with their websites and online marketing and helping them grow their business.
Very cool.
Something I get to get joy out of every day.
Well, it's very cool. And I tell you, this is a really needed thing. I've talked to so many people that own small shops and medium-sized shops, and one of the areas that they always struggle with is their marketing and how do they get involved in all this. And to have a company like yours and your team that you've surrounded yourself be able to come in and help them navigate those waters so they can focus on what they do best,
yes,
and you can focus on helping them market. So I think that's great. And since we both love Porsches, I think we're going to get along very well today. But as we continue on your journey, I always like to start by asking my guests for a success quote, a mantra, some kind of saying that has meaning for you, and it's a nice way to get the inspirational tires turning here on Cars Yeah. So, Margaret, grab the wheel.
Sure. Well, through many times in my life, anytime you're looking at taking a risk, I always look at myself and ask myself, if I do this, if I take this risk, what's the worst thing that can happen? And every time, which sounds pretty silly, but really it has helped me in so many aspects of my life to take that chance and try new things when I just really break it down and say, well, what's the worst outcome if I go ahead and try it? And it's helped me push the limits, both in my personal life and in my career.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, it's a great way to go through life because so many people go through life at the end and say, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I tried that. I wish I hadn't been afraid of that. I wish I'd taken that risk or taken that walk or gone on that trip or whatever it might be, because you're right.
Yeah.
If you sit back and think about what's the worst that can happen. So in the case for you, I mean, you've gone out, you participate in driving events with the Porsche Club, your work, you're professional in your line of work and so forth. Is there maybe a little example of something that you've done that and then afterwards you went, wow, I'm sure glad I did that?
Yeah. Well, I've got some experience actually in my personal life when I was early on, when I was young. And I talk a lot to my kids about that mantra, what's the worst thing that can happen in going forward in risks. And when I was just out of college, I had the opportunity to move and got an internship in a foreign country, in the country of Germany. And I didn't speak any German. And it was a chance to move there for 6 months, completely by myself, and have a job. And part of me is insanely excited at the opportunity, but then the other part of you looks at, oh my gosh, can I actually do this? You're on your own, working on your own. You're moving over there and doing everything on your own. I said to myself, this is one of the first times I've made these decisions outside of my parents at a young age. What's the very worst thing that can happen? And you go, okay, well, the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work out and you go back home. All right. So if that's the very... so
that doesn't sound so bad. Okay. What a good idea.
So let's go for it. Yeah. And that was, and living in a foreign country was a pivotal moment in my personal growth as becoming an adult, as well as in my career.
That, it's an awesome story, and it's so, so valuable. Both my children, when they were seniors in high school, went off and did studies abroad. My son did some things in Africa, in Poland, my daughter in Austria and France. And I tell you, they came back changed in such positive ways. Being able to see other people, other cultures, other things, and also come back and appreciate how much that they had here that they just took for granted and how great things were in their life. Little things, big things, whatever it might be. But you're right. Yeah. I think it goes back to that mantra you shared is what could go wrong?
Right.
And, if it didn't work out, I'll just come back. So, wow. Well, how old were you when you did that?
22.
Okay. Yeah. That's still very young. And if you'd never been abroad,
no,
even on a vacation, that's a bold undertaking. I'll tell you, getting off that airplane and walking through customs and going, oh my gosh, I'm here and there's nobody to help me.
That's right. And Mark, I want to, I'll share a little bit more about that story, probably a little bit further in the interview.
Oh, great. Awesome.
About the story of how the job went over there. I'd like to share that on the,
we'll get to that. Yeah, exactly. We'll get to that in a second. But first I want to have you share a story that instigated your personal passion for cars. Is there a pivotal moment in your life when you knew you were a car gal?
Yeah, and that's a great question because I think there were a couple of pivotal moments for me. It started out when I was a kid, as a lot of things do and a lot of passions do. And I can remember I was 12 years old, and my father, it was his lifelong dream to own a Corvette. I can remember, kind of going through this process, and he'd always been dreaming about it. And then the opportunity arose that he was going to buy a Corvette. And I remember the process and going through it and getting very excited. And what he purchased was a 1974 Stingray Corvette and brought it home. So that was the very first time that I was being introduced to a car that was not practical, right? It wasn't a pickup truck. It wasn't a family car. My parents owned 2 hardware stores. So everything in our life up to that point had always been extremely practical. And in comes this car. And of course, I thought it was the very coolest thing. And I can remember my mom and I going out for rides, and I liked the car. But then what made me realize that I didn't like just that car, that I was very interested in cars in general, was going to my first car show. And we went on a little family trip down to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which if any of your listeners are Corvette fans, they know that's was one of the biggest Corvette shows on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Huge show.
And so I went there, and my eyes turned to saucers, like, oh my gosh, I had never seen in my life so many Corvettes all together. And it was really an amazing thing. And I wanted to learn everything I could at that point about the brands and the years and the different models and on and on. So it's really when I realized that how interested I was in cars. And, and that kind of carried me through. And then I went, off to college and again, got into practical cars and didn't have a lot of exposure to cars except when I would come home and my dad in the meantime had started collecting. So he's got quite a collection of various cars now. And so I keep up on it that way. But then as an adult, I got through, the first couple of years of working and then got interested in having, okay, it's time. I get to pursue my own passion in sports cars. And my husband at the time was wanting to purchase a 2-seater. And he was looking at all these other cars. And I said, let's go look at the Porsche dealership. And he was like, oh, no, I don't know. I'm like, let's go look at them. So we went over and we didn't know where, the budget wasn't a typical Porsche budget. So we went over there and take a look and they had a Boxster on the lot and he went out and test drove it with the guy from the dealership. And then I took a test drive in it afterwards and I got in it and it was like nothing I had ever driven before. And I took it on the test drive and I was like, oh my, this is engineering right here. So I took it on the test drive, absolutely fell in love with the brand and got out of the car at the dealership and I handed my husband the key and I said, we're getting one of these. You just figure out which year so we can afford it. End of discussion.
Nice.
So that
decision made.
And since then, I have been passionately in love with Porsches.
Yeah, the needle stuck in deep on that one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mentioned Carlisle. I had as a guest long ago Lance Miller, who's the CEO of Carlisle Events, and of course Carlisle, huge Corvette event, giant event. He puts on spectacular shows, family deal that's been in his family forever. So that was a nice indoctrination. You answered a little bit of this question about, I always ask my guests about challenges and failures and talking us through one of those. And you wanted to kind of elaborate on that trip to Germany. This might be a good time to touch in and see how that all went.
Yeah. So I got there, right? And it was like, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'd come home. And I got there. You never know what's going to happen until you take a risk. So because it proved to be one of the most challenging times in my life and also one of the most rewarding and fulfilling times. It was very pivotal in my career and as I learned to build my career. Because I got over there and I didn't speak the language and I was thrown into this marketing department and it was a semiconductor company that I was working with. And sometimes those things you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. I had the opportunity. They found out there was an American working in the building who was had a business and marketing degree and was fluent in English. And so the VP of strategic marketing comes down into the back building, the office on the first floor, where his building is in his office is in the front building and on the third floor.
Oh yeah, the corner office with the windows.
Yeah, and he hears about that there's an American at the company. Comes down and says to me, I need your help. And because the company directive was they were breaking into the U.S. market, and he was fluent in English, and he had a lot of connections. It was himself, one field sales engineer, and he said, I need some help with presentations. And, what started out as kind of as an admin role turned into and I was an intern, right? Turned into a 3-year job.
Wow.
And we grew the business together to the point where we were opening an office in San Francisco to accommodate the growth we had experienced. So it goes back to, in the early times of that, kind of looking deep inside. That first couple of months was very, very hard. You have no friends. You don't know the language. You have nothing. You have to look really, really deep inside of it. But sticking it out proved every bit to be what I needed to set my career on the right path.
That's cool. What an awesome story. And again, what could happen? You could succeed.
Exactly.
That's what could happen.
Exactly. What could happen. And that's sort of what has happened every time those thoughts cross your mind. And what if, what could go wrong? But what if it works out? Where does this go?
Yeah.
And I have a lot of those experiences in my career to share. It worked out. You take the risk and it worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Great story. I love it. Well, let's have a little bit of fun and talk about your first special car. If there's a first special car in your life, something that maybe stands out, and maybe share a memory you have with that vehicle.
Sure. And the real special one, and I say the first special one, she's still my first special one. She's still the most special one to me. And that is my 1985 Porsche 911 Targa. And it's crystal green, and her name is Moxie.
Moxie. I love it. Crystal green, that's a very rare color.
It is. It was a custom color for only about 2 years, and I'm sure you can get the color if you special order it somehow. But for 2 years, 85 and 86, those were special orders. You had to order that color to get those on, to get that on the car. So that is something that's very special about that car. It also signified a time in my life when I started my job here at Autoshop Solutions, and I had started, interestingly enough, just in a part-time capacity, because I was the first hired employee in the company. I've been working in this company since the ground up. The owner and I knew each other through, a neighborhood network that we had. And one day we were talking about careers, and I had been staying home with my kids for about 7 years. And I knew I'd be going back to work sometime. And I kind of just said to him, we had worked on a project together in the neighborhood. And I said to him, when I get ready to go back to work, I'm calling you. It was just one of those offhanded remarks. And sure enough, I got the call, and he said, "Hey, were you serious? I've got, I'm starting this company. Let's talk."
Yeah.
And
awesome.
and and I can continue that story in a bit, but the connection to the car is that first year that I was working, with the money that I made, I bought this car. I bought the 85 Targa for me. We'd already had a Boxster, and I had gone on a Porsche event, and we went to a race shop, and I sat in a 911 for the first time that was all decked out, and I said, I have to have one of these. So I went on the hunt, and I found her and fell in love, and she has been my baby since 2006. And I have told my children, you may sell her when I die, and not before then.
Not before, yeah. Can't touch her before. Moxie is mine.
She is mine, and there's been other horses in the stables. They've come and gone, but she will be there forever.
Nice. Love it. Great story. Well, is there a seller's remorse? Because Moxie's still there, so there's not going to be a seller's remorse there, but is there a seller's remorse story in your life?
In my life there is, and that is going back to that car that introduced me to my love of cars, and that is my father's 1974 Stingray Corvette. Every time I think about that car was so classic, and I had such great memories of riding around in that car and the going to car shows, with my parents and with my dad or my mom, whoever was driving. It was that classic pumpkin orange. And every time, you see these older ones, and I wish that car was still in my life. And I'm always sad that he sold it. I'm always sad that he sold it.
Yeah, I know. That's the way it goes. But that's a pretty unique color, too. You don't see too many in that color.
No.
So, yeah, that's really fun. Well, I would love for you to share our with our listeners a little more about Autoshop Solutions, why they might need your guys' services, the different kinds of things that you provide for your customers, and what has you excited and fired up this year about your company, Autoshop Solutions.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So as you mentioned in the beginning, Autoshop Solutions we're an internet marketing agency, and we serve exclusively the automotive aftermarket. And, how it came about, our owner, CEO, is a former shop owner. And so he built a website for his shop. And then he went on to do some consulting and was helping other shops with running their businesses, and all of them needed marketing. This is in the early 2000s. So he started this company, and I started working with him, as my background was marketing and I had a business background. Autoshop Solutions is bringing award-winning website designs and internet marketing services to small business. And these are really my passions. And we're helping shops who, they're busy running their shops. They're great at fixing cars. Mm-hmm. They don't, the internet world is changing, and it's a lot for them to keep up on. And these small businesses, they really need a trusted partner out there who's going to be helping them. Our company over the past 12, 13 years has grown, and we are now a Google Premier Partner. All of our staff is Google certified. And this is, awesome. And it's really able to, and that's why we're able to bring these services to shop owners, because, other agencies at this with the kind of the level of service we're offering them, they're not able to work with other agencies. Typical agencies are going to charge 4 or 5 times as much. With us being exclusively automotive, we understand their needs. We understand the business. We help them, guide them with what they need. They don't have to teach us about the automotive aftermarket. We already know it. And so it's exciting. And, what I'm excited about now is that we continue to win industry awards 10 years in a row. We've been winning Auto Inc. magazine's top 10 websites. Every year for the past 10 years, our customers have been on that list, and not just one of them. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of our customers are winning those awards. It's exciting to be able to deliver these levels of services and really help these shops stay one step ahead.
Yeah, well, it's such a needed thing. Exactly. And I mentioned it at the beginning here. That is a challenge for so many small shops, is how to market themselves. So I think it's great. And you can find Autoshop Solutions online at autoshopsolutions.com. I'll put a link on Margaret's show notes page here on Cars Yeah website. So Margaret, up next is the last lap before we put the pedal to the metal. Let's say thank you to today's Cars Yeah sponsor. What's the worst thing for your car's interior? No, it's not that milkshake the kids spilled in the back seat. It's the sun. Harmful UV rays cook your automobile's interior hour after hour when it's parked outside, even on a cloudy day. What's the solution? Covercraft sunscreens. They protect your dash, seats, and interior finishes from those damaging UV rays while keeping the interior temperature tolerable, even on the hottest summer days. No more painfully sizzling seats and steering wheels for you. They unfold quickly and easily install, stay where you put them, and are custom patterned for an exact fit. The foam core acts as a cooling insulator, and you can get yours in different colors and finishes. And they even fold up easily and store under your seat or on the floor. I've used Covercraft sunscreens for years, and they are a fast and easy solution that protect my beloved cars when they're not in the garage. Learn more and order yours at covercraft.com. Want to protect your entire vehicle? Get a car cover from Covercraft. They have those too. That's covercraft.com, and tell them Mark sent you. Are you looking for a way to get your products or services into the ears of thousands of automotive enthusiasts around the globe? I can help. This is Mark Green here at Cars Yeah, and I'd be honored to be an influencer and ambassador for your brand in a unique and personal way. 5 days a week, thousands of subscribers and listeners enjoy the Cars Yeah podcast and website. Contact me today and I'll show you how at mark@carsyeah.com, or connect with me through the Cars Yeah website at carsyeah.com. Hey, Mark Green here from the Cars Yeah podcast. Did you know you can now see me on the Cars Yeah TV show? That's right. Cars Yeah is now on MAV TV. I visit some of the past Cars Yeah guests and take you along for the ride. Go to mavtv.com to learn more where you can enjoy Cars Yeah TV. MAV TV is also available on DirecTV, Fubo TV, Fios by Verizon, or you can stream it through mavtv.com online. And they said I only had a face for podcasting. All right, Margaret, we are back, and I have a very introspective question for you. If you woke up tomorrow in a shop, in a garage, parked on the street, what kind of car would Margaret be and why?
This is a funny question.
I know. It makes you think a little bit about how you perceive yourself.
Sure, yeah, you know what? Because I'm such a Porsche girl, and that I'm in love with the cars. But if I think about how I am as a person, I don't know if I am the Porsche. Come on, they're a little bit finicky, you know. We love them, but they're a lot to handle. So.
They can be, that's for sure. Mine's in the shop today. My good friend Pete Bristow at Bristow's Automotive is taking care of my Orange Crush today. She had a couple needs,
right.
So she was dripping a little fluid on the ground. I wanted to get that fixed.
Right,
so,
you want right.
Exactly.
So I don't think I would come back as a Porsche. I really think I'm going to be coming back probably as a Ford F-150 pickup truck.
A pickup truck. A workhorse, tried and true.
Yeah, just because I'm that, I like to think about it as just being something very solid, stable, reliable, and comfortable.
There you go. Well, you got it all, Margaret. You've got it all. That's all we asked for. So I love it. Well, see, that wasn't so hard to answer after all, but I appreciate you putting some thought into that. Well, we're up to the last lap, and I'm going to fire off a series of questions and ask you to give our listeners some very quick blips of the throttle answers. So here we go. What's the best automotive advice you've ever received?
To purchase the very best car that you can afford.
Absolutely. Great advice. Now, how about a personal habit? Would you share one that you believe has contributed to your many successes over the years?
One of my personal habits that has helped me in my professional life is always when I meet someone, especially whether it's my personal life or industry life, if I want to build a relationship with that person, really staying in touch with that person, and making personal contacts and, building relationships. It's a personal habit of mine when I'm meeting somebody to not just make that a one-time meeting, is to follow up and pursue having a relationship.
Great. It's a great way to go through life, both personally and for business as well. How about a resource? There are lots of awesome resources. Obviously, your company is a massive resource for automotive shops and stores and repair shops, Autoshop Solutions. But is there another resource you'd like to share with us?
In addition to AutoshopSolutions.com, which of course would have been my favorite answer. You know what? There's one thing right now that I'm passionate about, and techforcefoundation.org. And I'll just give that group a little plug. That is an organization that is promoting the careers of automotive technicians. We have in our industry a tremendous shortage of qualified technicians. And that is something that our whole industry, a lot of my customers, of course, are feeling that pinch. And the Tech Force Foundation, through their Future Tech Success campaign, is working on promoting the profession of becoming a technician and starting getting in front of parents, teachers, and kids at the middle school level, and carrying them and showing them the pathway to a successful career in automotive.
Absolutely. Great resource there, and a great tip for folks out there on both sides. The industry, a lot of these industries, hands-on industries, are suffering right now from all different levels because kids feel like they need to go to 4-year schools and get degrees and who knows what. And
right, and it's not the only path.
There's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
It's not.
It's a great path for some. It's not the only path out there. There are many different paths, and those who love working with their hands, yes, you're right, can have extremely successful careers. given the opportunity and helping show them the way that it's not only about that success is not only through a 4-year degree.
Plus, you can have an awful lot of fun playing with cars.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Now, if I could arrange for you to sit down and have a drink with anyone in the automotive industry, living or deceased, who would that be?
Oh, yes. I think it would probably be Ferry Porsche. I think.
Well, I kind of figured you might say that.
And that's really just because I always look at the vision and how the brand has carried and the vision of the engineering of these automobiles. And I just think there was a tremendous amount of foresight just so early on. And again, the risk taking that they took and the confidence that they had. I really would just love to get inside their head and understand.
People look at Porsche now and they just kind of think, oh, they've been successful forever. But if you go back and look at their history and their very humble beginnings in a barn in Austria.
In Austria. And, they were using wood molds and hammers to hammer out the fenders and all of that. I mean, it was just, they were visionaries.
Yeah. And the founding father, Dr. Ferdinand Porsche, was an incredible designer, mechanic, engineer. I mean, just the kind of things he came up with way back in the day. I mean, his first car was an electric car. So we've come way back, circle around, back to the new Taycan they're going to be coming out with here that's going to be all electric. So that would be very cool indeed. Now, how about a book? Is there a book you'd like to share with our listeners?
For the reading I do, I'm typically a magazine reader, and I will tell you the magazine that I read every month is the Panamera, the Pano, right? From the Porsche Club magazine, and I always tell any Porsche owner I meet, I tell them, if I ask them if they're in the Porsche Club, sometimes they say no, I don't know, not really, and I say, look. You don't have to do anything else, but you need to sign up so that you can get that magazine. Pano is one of the very best magazines that I read. I read it every month. So that would be my suggestion.
I just got mine. I've been a subscriber since I was in junior high. And past Cars Yeah guest Rob Sass, who's the new editor there, is doing a fantastic job. Vu, who's the director there, does a fantastic job as well. It's a really fun publication. I do the same thing. I just say, look, if you don't have the time or you don't want to get involved in the many cool events they do, just the magazine is great. It's the same with the BMW Club and the Roundel magazine.
Yes.
It's,
we have one of those.
One,
our CEO, he's a BMW guy. I'm the Porsche, and he's the BMW, and so we at the office, it's my Pano sitting on my desk, and he's got Roundel on his.
The battle of the German
we are car people around here.
Yeah, I would think so. And if you're a Mercedes fan, it's the Star publication. They do a great publication for Mercedes as well. So I've been getting all those publications for years. Well, magazines are fine. And I'll remind our listeners that you can find all these great resources Margaret has shared on her very own Cars Yeah show notes page. Just go to carsyeah.com, type in Margaret Palango, Palango, and her page will pop right up. All right, we're almost there, Margaret. We're up to the checkered flag, and this last question can be a real fun one to think about. It can be a bit of a doozy, too. Today, I'm going to buy you any cool collector car on the planet. Doesn't matter where it is, who it belongs to. I'm going to park it in your garage, but there's a few rules to this game. It's the only collector car you can have. You got to drive it. No garage queens here. And you can't sell it to buy a bunch of other toys with. So you pick a really expensive car, you're stuck with it. So what do you want me to buy you today?
Oh, and I have to drive it. I can't just...
Of course.
Yeah.
Why would you want to just look at it? That's boring.
Yeah, so I think, as much as I love all the new features of the Porsches and especially the newer 911s, I would say that if there was only one forever, it would be probably vintage 70s or 80s, like the car I have, Porsche 911. And that is because I'm in love with the air-cooled. I'm in love with the cars that don't have a lot of technology, that it is just you and the car, and the creature comforts are either an afterthought or non-existent. And those, because driving a car like that is all about the experience. To me, it feels like you could just go into a different world, and it's just you in the car, and it's a true escape.
There you go. Well, since you didn't pick a specific one, I'm going to pick one for you. You okay with this?
Oh, yeah, pick one.
All right. Well, you've experienced the 80s cars. I've got an 87 Porsche. Yours is 85, so those G-body cars. But I'm going to go back a little ways, and I think what I'd like to buy you is something very special. I'm going to buy you a 1973 911 Carrera RS. Very special car.
And fast.
Very unique car. Fast, fun, very expensive. But you know what? It doesn't deserve to be a garage queen. And unfortunately, they become so valuable. They do sit in garages a lot and people don't enjoy them. But in this fantasy drive we have today, you're going to be out with a big smile on your face driving around with that 1973 Carrera RS. So,
the RS for sure. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
You know me well.
You're welcome. Yeah. I'd love to have one of those myself.
Yeah.
Well, Margaret, you've taken me on an awesome ride today. I've really enjoyed your stories, and I want to thank you for sharing your journey. Could you offer us one little parting piece of wisdom before you drive off into the sunset in that 73 Carrera RS?
Sure. Follow your passion.
It's easy. It's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. I'm telling you, figure out your passion and go for it. That has been in my career. I've able to combine my passion for cars and my passion for small business, my passion for marketing. And if that's the one thing that keeps me going every day is the ability to follow my passion.
There you go. Margaret holds the secret sauce, the bottle of secret sauce in her hand to a happy life. Just follow your passions. And what's the best way for our listeners to learn more about you and Autoshop Solutions?
Yes, you can go to the Autoshop Solutions website, www.autoshopsolutions.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Margaret Palango, and be happy to connect.
There you go. Well, listeners, again, you can find all these links for Margaret on her Cars Yeah show notes page. Just go to carsyeah.com, type Margaret into the search bar, and that page will pop right up. Margaret, thanks for being so generous today with your time, your expertise, and for sharing your experiences with the Cars Yeah listeners and me. Until you and I talk again, I'll see you down the road.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. You take care of your cars, but who takes care of your investments? Tune-ups aren't just for engines. Updating your financial plan is important too. Your GPS may take you from A to B, but it won't help you on the road to financial freedom. For that, you need a good co-pilot and a very trusted advisor. Chris Kimball, CFP, is just the man for the job. He'll guide you down that road without driving you crazy. For over 25 years, Chris has helped people just like you and me with their financial planning and investments. With a master's degree in financial services, he is eminently qualified, and he's a car guy too. Learn more at chrisvkimball.com or call 866-ON-A-PLAN. Securities through Money Concepts Capital Corp., member FINRA SIPC. CK Financial Services is not affiliated with Money Concepts Capital Corp.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.